Story 1-1. Not coordinating with an interior designer. Not allocating enough budget for landscaping. Not understanding wind and sun exposure. Not paying enough attention to lighting. Story 2. Underspending on aspects that are difficult to change later, such as insulation, air sealing, mechanical systems, framing, and windows. Story 3. It probably isn't common, but it happened to me. My father-in-law gave the concrete contractor the interior dimensions instead of the exterior dimensions, so everything shrank by a few inches. It was mostly fine, but we had to completely redesign the stairs from having a landing to being a long winder. Story 4. Not insulating bedroom walls for some soundproofing and privacy, including the bathroom, was an oversight during my house renovation. I found this out while renovating my house, and it can be really beneficial for comfort. Story 5. My husband and I built our home 9 years ago. We did a lot of the work ourselves, but we needed to hire certain trades. We managed to find skilled tradespeople for almost everything, but we did not realize how challenging it would be to locate them. We also underestimated the time it would take. Story 6. Run Ethernet everywhere you can, including provisions for wireless access points and security cameras. It is absolutely worth it. Story 7. If you're building from scratch in a rural area, consider this. Is there clean groundwater or well water readily available? Am I on high enough ground that won't flood? Am I in danger of landslides, erosion, flash flooding, or wildfires? Can I hunt and live off this land? And is the ground fertile? Is the road accessible during winter? Trust me, these things matter. People see properties and buy them for the view without considering these factors. These are the fundamentals of living off the land. Can you support livestock? Am I going to live in a swamp or a desolate area? You want your life to be fruitful and productive. Always consider this. Don't overlook these issues. Do your research first. Is some large company going to come in and ruin all your plans? Buy land, but don't buy poor quality land. And if you can, own your world. Story 8. Not obtaining a professional cleaner's opinion on cabinetry, bathrooms, kitchens, and similar areas can be detrimental. What appears attractive on display may become a challenge to maintain cleanliness with regular everyday use. Story 9. Install premium wider guttering and downspouts along with a 6 or 8 inch hard pipe to carry water away from your roof. The standard gutters are too narrow, and the standard corrugated plastic 4-inch drain pipes will eventually collapse under dirt pressure. Create a pantry with shelves on 2 or 3 sides. It will be much cheaper than installing additional cabinets. At least one bathroom should include a roll-in shower, as it will be necessary, along with a good bath chair. Ensure that recessed lights in kitchens are positioned sufficiently far from the wall to illuminate the countertops rather than the tops of the cabinets. Story 10. Running 3/8 inch gas tubing to gas fireplaces requires 1/2 inch tubing for long runs. When installing 3-way light switches, install one upside down. This way, when the lights are off, both switches can point downward. Story 11. I believe that people should experience living in a house before attempting to build one. They need practical experience to understand what they truly like and want, as opposed to what appears appealing online. My husband and I had dreams of our ideal house while we lived in an apartment. After purchasing our first home and living in it for a couple of years, we realized that many of those dreams would not have made us happy or been practical. Story 12. Making everything too large, the house and the rooms, is not ideal. It is better to design functional, smart, and smaller spaces. Larger is not necessarily better. Story 13. A common mistake people make when building their own home is not planning enough for the future. It is easy to get caught up in making decisions for the present, but things change over time, and you want to ensure your home is flexible enough to adapt. Whether it's planning for additional rooms, accessibility, or extra storage space, overlooking these long-term needs can lead to regret later on. Another significant mistake is skimping on the quality of materials. Building a home is expensive, but cutting corners on critical elements like insulation, plumbing, or the foundation can lead to serious problems down the line. Saving a little upfront can end up costing much more in repairs or energy bills. Lastly, Many people underestimate the amount of time and energy required to manage the project. Building a house can feel like a second job. It is easy to assume everything will go smoothly, but there are many small details to keep track of, and mistakes or delays can quickly accumulate. Having the right team and staying organized is essential. It is all about thinking ahead, planning properly, and being realistic about the process. The dream home does not happen overnight. Story 14. For the love of God, pick up the laundry on the floor where you change. If all the bedrooms are on the second floor, having a laundry on the first floor isn't more convenient. Story 15. Insufficient storage. We built closets throughout the house and dedicated storage rooms, including a cellar. Consider storing suitcases, Christmas decorations, and hobby supplies. Insufficient power outlets. There are power outlets outside the house, such as on the front porch and carport. Poor lighting design. There are not enough bright lights, especially above kitchen work surfaces, and some light switches are in inconvenient locations. Some light fittings require switches in multiple locations for easy access. Networking. Where should your router be placed? Do you need a hardwired Ethernet cable? I ended up installing Ubiquiti Wi-Fi throughout the house to ensure adequate signal everywhere. It was expensive but totally worth it. If you plan to use a robot vacuum or mop, minimize floor level changes wherever possible. Ensure proper laundry ventilation. Consider pet requirements. Do you have a large dog that needs bathing? Where will your cat's litter tray go? Will you need pet doors? Avoid wall tiles. Grout lines are difficult to clean. Colorback glass is quick to install and easy to maintain. Heating and cooling. Do you need double glazing, air conditioning, or ceiling fans? What will curtains and blinds cost? Consider a concealed safe. Provide bookshelves or plan for adequate space to fit them. Story 16. Not aligning design styles appropriately can lead to inconsistencies. For example, purchasing a lot in a city and constructing a stereotypical black and white farmhouse may not fit the surroundings. Similarly, building a Victorian-style home and decorating the interior with modern beige aesthetics, or conversely, creating a modern-looking home while trying to achieve a cottagecore interior, can result in a lack of cohesion. While personalizing your home is important, if you are investing effort into building your dream home, ensure that the lot, architecture, and interior design are harmonious and cohesive. Story 17. Min did not realize that a concrete driveway was part of the home building process. That was a significant expense I had not calculated. With a homeowners association pressing down, I couldn't simply forgo it. Story 18. Thinking they will save money by hiring the cheapest workers to do the job is not a brilliant idea, especially when it comes to important tasks like soil and site preparation, plumbing, electrical work, heating and insulation, and windows. Story 19. One of the biggest mistakes is not checking in at each stage of construction. Ensure the walkout basement door is accounted for before pouring the concrete. Do not forget the entry closet. Even if it is a standard house plan, many builders will allow some adjustments. If you want your laundry upstairs and the original plan had it on the first floor, work with the builder to adjust the space. Additionally, if you are moving to an area with snow and bring a plan from a sunny climate, discuss with the builder whether the multiple roof lines will create ice dams. I am thinking of neighbors who have been complaining about them for decades after constantly overriding the contractors. However, the biggest mistake is not considering the area around your neighborhood. What is the nearby zoning? What does that farm you overlook produce? And is it noisy or smelly? Is that nearby hill a capped dump? Visit the town planning office and ask what can be built nearby and if there are plans on file. Lastly, if there are nearby railroad tracks and people say they are hardly ever used, remember that can change at a moment's notice, and you will never be able to stop it. Story 20. I built my house in the early 2000s. My go-to answer when asked what I would change is power outlets. My house is a 4-level back and front split. The main floor includes the living room, dining area, and kitchen with vaulted ceilings, creating a large ledge around the kitchen in a U shape above the cabinets. It frustrates me that I didn't persuade the builder to install electrical outlets there. In the summer, I have fans on that ledge, and during Christmas, I place a small 3-foot tree. To power those, I used a 1-meter-long drill bit to drill from behind my refrigerator through the back of the cabinets above it. I cut the end off an extension cord, fed it through, and replaced the end. It's not ideal, and it irritates me every time I see it, but it works. Install a power outlet anywhere you think you might want a fan or a decorative item. Story 21. The orientation of living areas to the sun is important. In Australia, the afternoon sun is in the west. If your living areas face west, they can become too hot. Instead, they should face north. In winter, when the sun is low in the sky, your living areas will be warmed naturally. Story 22. To be honest, many people make mistakes right away by choosing to build instead of buy. It is truly not for everyone. Story 23. Are you building your own home or paying someone else to build it? The answer is vastly different depending on your choice. Story 24. Not consulting with an architect can lead to pitfalls. Many architects do pro bono work, reviewing your designs and offering suggestions without taking over the project. Relying solely on a contractor may result in a generic four-walled house with standard window openings and a gable roof. This approach is easy and cheap to build but lacks uniqueness. If you want your house to reflect your personal style, it is advisable to consult with an architect. They can also connect you with interior designers, landscapers, and contractors who will treat you fairly. Story 25. Not hiring an architect. Not hiring contractors. Not finalizing the design before starting. Not knowing how to manage a project. Assuming it will be completed by a certain date for a specific amount of money. Story 26. Many people focus only on their current needs without considering family growth, resale value, or long-term functionality. It is also common to miscalculate the budget, choose a poor design, or hire the wrong builder. Story 27. A common mistake people make when building their own home is underestimating the importance of planning and budgeting. It is easy to get caught up in design choices, but without accounting for unexpected costs and delays, things can quickly become overwhelming. Story 28. Read about Grover House and learn how the designer approached the project. Use this as an example of what to avoid. Story 29. Laundry rooms need to be located on an exterior wall, with the dryer venting outside as directly as possible. Avoid building a landlocked laundry room far away from external walls, as this can damage your dryer. Long dryer exhaust vent lines pose fire risks. Story 30. They worry about visible issues, so they invest money in things they can alter later instead of ensuring that the structure, windows, doors, insulation, siding, and other essential aspects are optimized for their available funds. They can upgrade cabinets and countertops later. Story 31. Overbuilding spaces for hypothetical future needs, like a large home office, just in case, or an extra guest room that rarely gets used, sounds practical at the time. However, it often turns into wasted space and extra maintenance. Story 32. Building to the latest fashion rather than considering the local environment is a challenge. An open-plan house in the coldest parts of the United States might win awards for best architecture, but it will be difficult to heat. Additionally, multi-level homes may be appealing when you are young and stairs are not a concern, but living there long enough can make climbing the stairs to access different rooms difficult or even impossible. Story 33. Not consulting the experts in the field can be costly. This is a lesson I learned from do-it-yourself experiences. Story 34. Not budgeting enough. Always plan for at least 20 to 30% more than you expect because unexpected costs will definitely arise. Story 35. Using a draftsman instead of an architect can result in an awkward design once constructed. Story 36. I used to frame for a living, and the tin bashers would always install a heat duct right underneath the bedroom window. However, the most logical place for the bed is usually under the window. Those guys never think. Story 37. Not knowing what makes a house lovely can be confusing. There is a book that can help, called A Pattern Language. One example from the book states that decks, verandas, and balconies that are less than 6 feet wide do not get used. There are about 400 patterns in total. You should read it before you build your home. Story 38. One significant mistake is not planning for the future. People often focus on what looks good in the present but overlook aspects like future expansion and ease of maintenance. It is akin to constructing a house for today while neglecting tomorrow. Story 39. Putting the light boxes on the wrong stud, which is too close to the doors. Not planning the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning and plumbing in first. Buying used windows. Not sure if this is common, but learn from my experience. Story 40. Not considering your geography while building can lead to issues. Those large glass windows may look beautiful in temperate zones, but they are less suitable for hot, sunny tropical climates. Story 41. I am the second owner of a custom-built house. This house seems designed to allow mice-free reign. The ceilings and walls have numerous openings that provide ample space for rodents. For your own sanity, ensure that the design does not inadvertently create a rodent palace. Also, make sure the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system is appropriately sized for the space. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.